we'll make sure we take our atorvastatin. So please look forward to this and sign up and plan to come to Spartanburg and pass the word around. We're going to be very excited to host everybody, and we are certainly looking forward to getting back in person. I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Cashman. I live in Spartanburg, and that sounds very exciting. Yes, we're really hoping to be there live. So the Criterium and Spring Fling, they do bring in a lot of crowds, so I would recommend getting early reservations when they do become available, because we don't want you to not have a room. Okay. Wow, I can't believe it's time for reference committee already. All right, so we're going to move on to that. First thing we want to do is thank our chairs and panelists. We know it was more of an effort to hold a reference committee in a virtual setting. So we thank you for doing that. Dr. Cashman and I were able to watch, I'd say, the majority of the proceedings, and what we saw seemed like it was running smoothly. We did hear some very good discussion, so we do thank you for showing up and speaking up. So in just a second, I'm going to call up each chairperson, and they're going to present their committee reports. So let me say, some of this is tiresome. We have to, but this is part of the work that we do, that you do as the House of Delegates. We do need to adopt these reports, many resolutions. The staff and I and Dr. Cashman stayed up late last night trying to streamline this process so we could cut down on how many votes we need to take. So we did try to put some reports all in a group. We did the best we could, but we still have some voting to do. We did cut the voting time down to 15 seconds, as Carolyn mentioned. And again, if you do want to speak to a report or a resolution, go into the Q&A box, type your name. When you come live, we'll need you to state your name if you're speaking for yourself or a delegation, and which resolution you're speaking to or report. And that's a reminder again, if you want to make an amendment, you need to identify whether you're speaking on behalf of your delegation or society or on behalf of yourself, because if you're speaking from a delegation, you don't need a second. If you're speaking on behalf of yourself, you will need a second. So before we get going, any other instructions?
I believe we're excited.
Okay, think we're ready to go. Okay, so we will call up, first up is Dr. Eddie Katimba to start us off. So we'll need to move Dr. Eddie Katimba to panelist, please.
While we're working on that, hopefully you were able, or please, delegates, take a look or pull up your reports from the reference committee so you can follow along.
There he is. Good morning, Dr. Katimba.
Good morning, Madam Speaker and Dr. Cashman there. I'm going to get started. The Reference Committee on Reports of Trustees and Officers gave careful consideration of the items referred to it and submits the following report. Madam Speaker, your Reference Committee recommends that Report B1 through B26 be adopted as submitted on the consent calendar.
Okay, it's a recommendation of your reference committee to adopt these reports. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, we will vote on that now, please. Okay, that was adopted. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends adoption of this reference committee report in its entirety.
Okay, we will now vote to accept this reference report in its entirety. Please vote yes when it pops up. Okay, thank you. That passes. All right, please proceed, Dr. Katemba.
The reference committee on miscellaneous business gave careful consideration to the items referred to it and submits the following report. Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends that report G3, report of the Bioethics Committee, be adopted as submitted.
So it's recommended we adopt report G3 as submitted. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, we will vote on that report, please. Adopt report G3. All right, thank you. G3 was adopted. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends that report G3, report of the 2016 Sunset Policy Resolution, be adopted as submitted.
Okay, it's recommended by the reference committee to adopt report G4, Sunset Committee. So I wanted to speak a little bit about sunset policy, as I heard there was a little confusion. So sunset policy was actually created several years ago now, and it was modeled after the AMA. And the whole idea is that we review the resolutions that you as a House pass to be sure we're doing what you expect us to do. So we have a sunset team, and we start back, each year we go back 5 years and previous, and we review all the resolutions and see what action has been taken. And if we have completed a resolution, then we sunset it. And if we still have an active resolution, we say, it's still ongoing, and so we retain it. So when you see this sunset policy come to you, you see retain or sunset, and I know what the problem is. You want more information, and actually I want you to have more information. So I'm letting you know that it's a personal mission of mine to keep working on this sunset policy because it's still a work in progress. I'm going to try to get it up to the level that the AMA has with lots of information. But for now, these sunset policies get sent to each appropriate reference committee. And it is in that committee that if you want to extract a policy that's in the sunset policy, that's the appropriate time to pull it out, discuss it, make an amendment if you so desire. Now, you can still do that today. From what I understand, I don't think any of these sunset policies were extracted. So now we will vote to accept the sunset policy G4. Please vote now. I hope that answers people's questions about sunset. Okay, that passes. All right, Dr. Katemba, please proceed. That ends your committee report G, I believe. We're moving on to H.
So, Madam Speaker,
I'm
your
sorry.
reference, Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends that this reference committee report be adopted in its entirety.
Sorry about that. You are
No
right.
problem.
Please vote now to accept this committee report in its entirety. Please vote now. Okay, that passes. Thank you. All right, please proceed.
The reference committee on the Constitution and bylaws gave careful consideration to the items referred to it and submits the following report. Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends that report H1, report of the Constitution and bylaws committee, be adopted as submitted.
All right, is there any discussion concerning that? If not, please vote now. All right, that passes. Man, we're going fast on these votes now. This is great. Was that the right one? Is that not the right one?
That's right.
Okay, that was too fast. Sorry, guys. We only had 3 people voting on that one. So please cast your vote now to accept report H1 of the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. All right, that's better. We're back up to 60. Okay, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends that the following 3 resolutions as a consent calendar be adopted as submitted. Resolutions H3, which is change of audit to every 3 years. Resolution H4, Speaker and Vice Speaker should be added to the Executive Committee. Resolution H5, specials for the first-time members of the SCMA.
All right, so these resolutions were, there wasn't any discussion in reference committee, but if there's any discussion now, please let me know. Everybody good? Okay, so please vote to accept resolutions H3, 4, and 5 as submitted. And then that's the wrong vote that's up. That will be next. These are for the consent calendar. H3, 4, 5. Next one. Next slide.
Bear with
Almost
us 1
there.
minute. Something seems to be out of order in the voting. Hold on 1 second, please.
Okay.
While they're working on that, I'll say for the Spartanburg meeting next year, we're really excited, as Dr. Stockinger mentioned, Spartanburg native as well, and Dr. Budahorn, so a few Spartanburg members. Actually, we have the vote up now.
Okay, now we can vote. Yes, Spartanburg strong.
And Dr. Katemba.
And Dr. Katemba. And Moretz. And VCOM. Okay, that was passed. Thank you. 1 dissenting vote, looks like. Okay, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends adoption of this reference committee report in its entirety.
Okay, thank you. It's recommended to adopt this report in its entirety. Please vote now. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Contema. I believe that's everything for you. Would you like to introduce your team?
Yes, I would like to thank Dr. Deepak Chaudhary, Dr. Lisa Hashberger, and Mr. Patrick Smith, who was assistant to the chair, and our trustees, Dr. Vipin Verma and Dr. Asutosh Gore.
Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate your service. Thank you, Dr. Katemba.
Thank you.
All right, next chair we will bring up will be Dr. Kevin Walker. I hope I've got this stuff right here. Dr. Walker, are you with us?
I have to bring him up.
Okay, hang on. Dang, I don't have it. Walker?
I believe you're muted, Dr. Walker.
Sorry, thank you. Good morning, Madam Speaker and Mr. Vice Speaker. The Reference Committee on Public and Occupational Health gave special considerations to the items referred to it and submits the following report. Madam Speaker, your Reference Committee recommends the report C3, Report of the Medical Aspects of Sports Committee, be adopted as submitted.
Thank you. It's a recommendation of your committee to adopt these reports as submitted. Is there any discussion? If none, please proceed with a vote. Okay, that passed. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your Reference Committee recommends the report C4, Report of the 2016 Sunset Policy Resolution, be adopted as submitted.
All right, this was a policy that has been sunset. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, please vote to accept this sunset policy, C4. Okay, thank you. That's been accepted. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your Reference Committee recommends adoption of this Reference Committee report in its entirety.
If there's no discussion, please vote to adopt this report in its entirety. Okay, thank you. That passed. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, the Reference Committee on Medical Education and Hospitals gave careful consideration to the items referred to it and submits the following report. Madam Speaker, your Reference Committee recommends that reports E1, Report of the SCMA Committee on Continuing Medical Education, and E2, Report of the SCMA Foundation, be adopted as submitted.
Is there any discussion on either of these reports, please? Seeing none, please proceed to the vote. All right, thank you, that passes. All right, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends that report E3 of the 2016 Sunset Policy Resolution be adopted as submitted.
All right, take a minute to look at those, please. Those are your sunset policies. A couple were sunset, a couple more we're going to continue retaining. Any discussion? All right, please vote to accept sunset policy, please. Okay, that passes. Thank you. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends the resolution E4, ensuring access to the child mental health services and child abuse reporting during increased stress and at risk, be amended to read. Resolved that our SCMA support the South Carolina Department of Mental Health and Social Services on how best to increase the availability and types of virtual resources and services offered for pediatric mental health care and domestic violence support, and it be further resolved that our SCMA raise physician awareness of educational resources, including virtual resources, available to patients and their families concerning identifying and addressing mental health and domestic violence concerns.
Thank you. So it's been recommended to adopt Resolution E4 as amended. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, please vote for this resolution. Thank you, that passes. Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends the resolution E5, safe firearm storage counseling, be amended to read. Resolve the South Carolina Medical Association encourage practicing physicians in South Carolina to use patient encounters as an opportunity to discuss firearm safety and safe storage practices. Resolve that the South Carolina Medical Association support efforts to inform the public about safe storage of firearms.
All right, it's been recommended to adopt Resolution E5 as amended. Is there any discussion?
Dr. Janice Key from Charleston County.
Welcome, Dr. Key.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm a member of the Charleston County Medical Society that submitted this resolution and the co-chair of our school health committee that has been very active in firearm safety. And we benefited from the discussion at the resolution committee, at the reference committee yesterday, and we are in support of the amendments.
Thank you, Dr. Key. Any other comment?
Do not see.
Okay, let's proceed to the vote for Resolution E5. Okay, that passes. Thank you very much. All right, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends the resolution E6, policy and clinical approaches to the opioid epidemic in South Carolina, be amended to read. Resolve the Board of Trustees of the South Carolina Medical Association provide a report to the House of Delegates at the 2022 annual meeting on the progress within the state of South Carolina on the opioid epidemic. Resolved that such report provide information on the success of dissemination of the CME courses.
Okay, your reference committee recommends adoption of Resolution E6 as amended. Is there any discussion? All right, please proceed to vote for Resolution E6 as amended. All right, that resolution passes. I would like to say I really enjoyed Dr. Walker's talk yesterday on opioids. It was extremely helpful. So thank you, Dr. Walker.
Thank you,
Okay,
Madam Speaker.
Next resolution, please.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends the resolution E7, health equity, be rejected.
Okay, so I know it's hard to hear the words rejected, and it always brings up questions. So usually the discussion is at the reference committee. Dr. Walker, would you be able to give a few words about this, or?
I'd be happy to, Madam Speaker. The reference committee did feel uncomfortable with rejecting anything related to health equity, no question. We felt like this resolution could use some more work. There were some whereas comments that did cause concerns within the SCMA reference committee on this topic. So I think the group, if they could go back and kind of review and look through that the resolution could be represented in future meetings.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. Okay, is there any discussion?
Dr. Joseph Hoyle from Florence.
Dr. Hoyle?
Good morning, fellow delegates. Just wanted to say I also, this is Joseph Hoyle from Florence, speaking on behalf of myself and one of the other authors. We also appreciate the discussion and agree with the recommendation, and we're able to identify some other ways to advocate for health equity and justice through our discussion. So we do affirm the committee's recommendation.
Thank you, Dr. Hoyle. Appreciate that. Anybody else? All right, we'll vote now on Resolution E7. All right, that passes. A couple of nay votes there. All right, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends resolution E8, reducing food insecurities in South Carolina, be amended to read. Resolved, the South Carolina Medical Association support working with appropriate stakeholders to provide physicians resources and education for addressing food insecurities in South Carolina, and resolve that the South Carolina Medical Association supports sustainable funding for extension agents.
So is there any discussion on Resolution E8 as amended? All right, seeing none, please vote on Resolution E8 as amended. And that says report E8, but it's Resolution E8. I know. Did we have a vote? Did that come up? Okay, that passed. Okay, so please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends Resolution E9, increasing buprenorphine education and the waiver training for South Carolina physicians, residents, and medical students be amended to read. Resolved that our South Carolina Medical Association should encourage all South Carolina medical schools to include MAT education and DEA waiver training into their medical school training, and it be further resolved that our SCMA will work with appropriate stakeholders to disseminate to physicians continuing medical education to increase the number of physicians with a DEA MAT-X waiver within the state.
Okay, we have Resolution E9 now presented to you as amended. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, please vote to adopt resolution, not report, Resolution E9 as amended. Are we okay? Okay, that was accepted 100%. Thank you. All right, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, with regards to Resolution E10, advocating for a medical student mental health task force in South Carolina, your reference committee has separate recommendations as to separate resolve clauses. Your reference committee recommends the first resolve clause to be amended to read, resolve, the SCMA supports efforts to work with medical students, South Carolina medical students, and pertinent stakeholders to develop methods for assessing medical student mental health needs throughout the state of South Carolina, evaluating existing resources which addresses said needs, and develop evidence-based recommendations for improvement, and it to be further.
All right, let's stop there and hold discussion on that point before we vote, if there's discussion. All right, seeing none, we'll vote on the first resolve as amended. I guess we'll call it Resolve 1E. And we will get these corrected, that these are resolutions. Okay, that passed. Now, please proceed with the rest of E10.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends the second and third resolve clauses of this resolution be referred to the SCMA Board of Trustees for decision.
So those second and third resolve clauses appear underneath. Everybody can read through those. And then we'll entertain any discussion. All right, seeing none, please vote for the second and third resolve to be referred to the board. All right, thank you, and that passes. All right, please proceed.
Madam Speaker, your reference committee recommends the adoption of this reference committee report in its entirety.
Okay, if there's no discussion, let's please adopt this report in its entirety. Please vote on that, please. Okay, that passes. Thank you for that. That was a good long report. All right. Dr. Walker, we got to put you on hold a minute.
Thank you. So as you can see through this, it's wonderful to be able to bring everyone together in a virtual format and to work on resolutions like we have not been able to do last year. Through this, we've all learned through the pandemic that when we have challenging situations, we will roll with the punches, and we're going to roll with the punches now. We're going to pass it over to ASG, who is the one helping us work through this, to help give us a quick explanation. What we'll likely have to do is move off the Zoom link and come back on, but I'm going to have Carolyn discuss a little bit about what we're going to do. So for just a minute, we'll take a quick break after Carolyn tells us what we need to do, and then we'll come back, finish out F and D and whatever else other work we need to do. So I'm going to turn it over to Carolyn with ASG.
Good morning again. We're so sorry to have to announce that Zoom right now is prompting us to relaunch the site. So therefore, we're going to have everyone log out and log back in to address the technical issues that Zoom is experiencing. So if you could please log out and allow us 5 minutes to relaunch so we can bring everyone back in and get leadership back on. Again, we apologize for the difficulties. This was an unexpected problem.
Thank you. So we'll log out in 5 minutes. We'll see you in a minute.